Welcome to the Dr. Evermore Sculpture Park, also known as the World of Dr. Evermore. This is where we like to escape into his world. He started this in the mid-1980s. A lot of these components too are things that he had collected. Everything has some historical components to it. I think it was great that he made this because it brings people together. This is the home of the Forevertron. It's one of the world's largest scrap metal sculptures. I think there might be one out there that is a little bit larger, but this is definitely one of the top. The Forevertron was something that my father, Dr. Evermore, built to be able to project himself back into the heavens on a magnetic lightning force beam inside the glass ball that's inside the copper egg there. He wanted to harness the magnetic lightning force, and the telescope he designed for the doubting Thomases to watch, those folks that didn't believe he could actually make it to the heavens. The message that Dr. Evermore was trying to communicate with the Forevertron, though, truly was a message of love more. He used to say that the Forevertron ran on level 7 love energy, and it's the purest energy out there. If the world ran out of love energy, he did make a backup power supply, which is the juicer bug over there. So there's that big stainless steel bug. That would be his backup power supply. On this side over here, just to tie in with the love message he had, this Overlord Master Control Unit, it's not quite finished. He had more tiers. There's supposed to be 7 tiers to it, but these are what he called love guns on there, so they also shoot out the level 7 love energy, so if you're having a bad day, to brighten the day. The Forevertron weighs around 300 tons. I think it's about 50 feet high and maybe 120 feet wide, and completed it, I believe it was around 1986. A lot of the materials that you'll find in here were materials that he collected from being in the industrial wrecking and salvage business. For example, over here, this big red engine here was something that he did collected from a power plant that he tore down. Right here, the center attraction, which is a stainless steel decontamination chamber from one of the Apollo missions. Some of the sculptures that you see up here, these are special. They're called moonwalkers, and all of his creatures, he would say, would come to life at night. So it's sometimes some of these creatures will do work on the Forevertron, you know, at night, fixing up whatever, anything that needs repairs, but those are special moonwalkers. These are really wonderful musical instruments here, the Komodo dragons. Everything on here is musical. It all has different sounds. He cut all the oxygen tanks off at various heights so that he could create different bellows with it. And he did really enjoy the Tibetan bells. Even like in here, just some really interesting sounds because these parts are hollow on the inside. But there's 5 of them here, so we call this the Dragon's Lair. Birds were his passion. These are his small phoenix birds that he designed in 2003. You'll notice a lot of the creatures here have these type of blades. He purchased a lot of reject blades from Fiskars when Fiskars was here in Sauk City. He would always go over there and see what they had, and then often would come out with a pallet full of stuff. This is the Epicurean. This was one of Dr. Evermore's favorite creations that he made. He built this in 1976 for Lady Eleanor, who's right there in the gazebo. but this is a cheese kettle. We have a grill inside here. We refurbished it this spring, and Wollersheim Winery borrowed it and made 900 brats on it in 4 hours. He really loved the copper, the brass. We've got brass components here. He loved things that had nameplates on it. He incorporated that. The oldest thing on this machine here, though, are the wheels. We've got Buick 1929 wheels, Dodge Brother wheels. It was really challenging finding some replacement rims and tires for those. So this is just one of his absolute favorite things. This is Dr. Evermore's extra spaceship that he built for the extraterrestrials to borrow when they come for a visit. There's a lot of really cool components in there. I believe the main center part there, the discs and stuff, came from a Badger ammunition plant. There's a lot of brass finials on there that were drapery rods, and you'll notice that even on the Gawker birds here, these are called Gawker birds, he also uses those as the eyes. He also incorporated the Fisker blades, but these, the neck parts here are actually from commercial ice maker machines. The park is really usually kind of non-politics, non-religious, it's just kind of a safety zone when anybody can come and just escape from the world. But this is an actual political piece here, which is a missile, and this piece is called Overkill. And it was just kind of something that represents how the government is really just over the top with their level of intensity on technology and in the military. Although he had great respect, he was actually a veteran. 4 years in the Army and then 4 years in the Reserve. And he was a model maker when he was in the military. And those are his Mississippi mosquitoes. These little Mississippi mosquitoes are pretty fantastic. This was built in 1993, just to let you know the age of it. This is one of his favorite pieces too. It has like a dentist type chair, a vintage dentist chair, and then this speaker here is from Beloit, Wisconsin. He took that out of a theater, and the storylines with this is that this machine is a device that can pick up signals from other planets, and then it takes the signals and sends them to the Overlord Master Control Unit on the other side so that they can figure out the calculations for the intergalactic travels that he can do with the Forevertron. All right, we'll head over to the bird band here. If you'll notice, for over here we actually have a conductor conducting the entire band. So this cello bird here, actually there's 2 of them. The other mate to this is at a museum on the East Coast in Maine called the Visionary Arts Museum. And I believe the stainless steel portion of it was a bathtub for burn victims. Each bird in the band here, or some people refer to it as an orchestra, they're all completely individual. My mother, Lady Eleanor, had found the instruments that are in the birds at St. Vinny's here in Prairie du Sac. The Prairie du Sac school system was turning over and getting new instruments, and so they donated all their instruments to St. Vinny's, and she happened to just find them, and my dad immediately wanted to buy all of them and was inspired to build this fantastic band. And this is a fan favorite here, and people can lightly touch and play them. I'll get this side going. They are fantastic. Watching the children play these is great. Fun times. But the kids are often making some drum rolls with that. Then we've got these 2. Got a kind of cool sound. This is one of my absolute favorites. Sometimes that's what it sounds like when I'm just in here. It would be so cool to have like real musicians come in here and play the actual instruments. You know, maybe they'd have their particular one. These don't function anymore, but it'd be super cool. He really loved bells. Anything that he could, you know. We did recently had a wonderful team of people from Milwaukee. Catherine Canistra was the lighting artist who installed LEDs along with a group of 5 of her teammates They installed LEDs all over the Forevertron here, so we do light it up now. And we call these events Power On events.